I remembered a life that wasn't mine. It started with a smell, warm bread, rosemary, and something faintly floral. Not from my kitchen, I hadn't cooked all day, but it hit me so strongly that I stopped in the hallway, dizzy with memory. A memory that didn't belong to me. I was standing barefoot on cold tiles. Light was spilling through gauzy curtains. There was a woman at the counter, humming softly, her back to me. I knew the song. I knew her name. I knew the way her shoulder blades moved when she laughed. But I didn't know how. And then, it was gone. Just the hallway. Just me. I chalked it up to stress. Maybe a smell from a neighbor's apartment, mixed with a bad night's sleep. I told myself that sometimes the brain plays tricks, and I had always been imaginative. I made a cup of tea. I turned on the TV. But the feeling lingered, like the memory had left something behind, like a name I almost remembered, always just one thought away. The next day, it happened again. This time, it was sound. I was brushing my teeth when I heard a man laughing. Deep, familiar, right outside the bathroom door. I froze, mouth full of foam, heart thudding. But when I peeked into the hallway, there was nothing. No one. Just still air. My door was locked, the apartment silent. But I knew that laugh. I could feel the shape of it in my chest. And worse, I knew I had loved him once, even though I didn't know who he was. That night, I dreamed of a yellow house with green shutters. I walked through its halls like I belonged there. The floorboards creaked in a way that felt like music. A child ran past me, giggling, and I called her name. Not my niece, not my cousin, a name I'd never said before but knew was hers. When I woke up, I cried without knowing why. The memories didn't stop. They got louder, more complete, like someone was slowly tuning in a signal that had always been playing beneath the static of my life. I was walking to the corner store when I smelled old books, not from the shop, but from somewhere deep in me. And suddenly I was there again. A different life. A bookstore with low ceilings and dusty lamps. The sound of a bell over the door. A man with kind eyes handing me a receipt. He said, "Same time next week," and I smiled without knowing why. I could feel the weight of a novel in my hands. I could feel the calluses on my fingers from shelving books that I had never owned. I stood frozen on the sidewalk, heart pounding. The street around me blurred. My name felt unfamiliar in my own mouth. When I got home, I wrote it all down. Every detail I could remember. The smell, the floor, the way the sunlight fell across the carpet. It felt like documenting a dream, only I hadn't fallen asleep. I started to avoid mirrors, not because I didn't recognize myself, but because I did, and I wasn't sure which version I was seeing. Some mornings I'd wake up and instinctively reach for a ring I didn't wear. I'd open drawers expecting clothes I'd never owned. One night I looked in the mirror and said out loud, "This is my life," just to hear myself say it. But it didn't land right. It felt like a sentence someone else had written for me. I didn't tell anyone. What was I supposed to say? "Hey, I think I'm remembering someone else's life, but it feels like mine." People already think I'm strange. I keep to myself. I work from home. I don't see family often. There was no one I trusted to say something's wrong with reality and have them actually believe me. So I kept it in. Let it build. Let it twist into me like a root growing underground. Then the memory came that broke me. I was sitting at the kitchen table, staring at nothing, when I suddenly remembered holding someone's hand while they died. The hospital room, the soft beep of machines, the smell of antiseptic and sweat. I remembered saying goodbye. I remembered the weight of their hand going still in mine. I remembered the sound I made, not a sob, not a scream, just this quiet, broken sound, like something inside me had shattered. And I remembered their name, Julia. And I remembered she had been my wife. And I remembered I had never been married. I stopped trying to understand, not out of defeat, but out of necessity. There are some questions that grow heavier the longer you carry them. I learned that not every mystery wants to be solved. Some just want to be witnessed. The memories still came, not every day, but often enough that I started to live beside them, instead of running from them. I'd be pouring a glass of water and suddenly remember the feeling of ocean wind against my face. I'd be folding my laundry and see the sleeves of a jacket I'd never owned, still creased from the way she used to fold them for me. Julia's name stayed with me, not like a ghost, more like a gravity. I didn't try to find her. I didn't look her up, didn't search public records or social media. I didn't want proof. Proof would make it real, or worse, unravel it. Because what if she never existed? Or what if she did, and I had never met her? The thought of both was equally unbearable. One morning I sat at the edge of my bed and whispered, "I miss you." I didn't cry. I didn't feel dramatic. I just said it, and let it sit in the quiet. Maybe it was mine. Maybe it was someone else's. But the grief was real. The love was real. The ache was real. That was enough. I started painting again. Nothing impressive, just shapes, colors, textures that felt familiar in a way I couldn't explain. A blue I'd only seen on the walls of that bookstore. A gold that reminded me of Julia's hair in the sunlight. I hung them on the wall, not to display, but to remember. I don't think I'll ever have a neat answer. Maybe this is some psychological fracture. Maybe I lived another life. Maybe souls echo. Maybe memory is bigger than the body. Or maybe I'm just a person who needed to believe in something bigger than silence. But here's what I do know. There was love in that life. Deep, strange, beautiful love. And even if it wasn't mine, I feel lucky to have carried it for a while. Like a song I only heard once, but that still hums in the back of my mind. I'm not broken. I'm just layered. And sometimes the deepest parts of us aren't built. They're remembered. If this story stayed with you, there are more waiting. Subscribe for new mini audiobooks every day. And thank you for listening.